the rendition of ASEAN Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming His Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗓𝗛 bin Muhammad Anwar, Secretary General, Ministry of Rural and Regional Development Malaysia and 𝗟𝗦𝗟𝗪𝗡𝗙 Malaysia, together with the honored guests into the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly request everyone to remain standing for the rendition of ASEAN Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗓𝗛 bin Muhammad Anwar, Secretary General, Ministry of Rural and Regional Development Malaysia, Mr. Miguel Musni, Head of Poverty Eradication and Gender Division, ASEAN Secretariat, distinguished guests, participants in the hall and those joining us online, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning and welcome to the ASEAN Multi-Stakeholder Dialogue on the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development in Modern and Vibrant City of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
With the theme promoting synergy towards sustainable and transformative rural development in ASEAN community.
This dialogue is exclusively hosted by Ministry of Rural and Regional Development Malaysia and in collaboration with ASEAN Secretariat. The ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development was adopted by the ASEAN leaders during the 40th and 41st ASEAN Summits in November 2022, Phnom Penh, Cambodia.
The Master Plan enunciated that rural development aims to improve economic and social living conditions, with a particular focus on people in rural areas for them to benefit the development. We are privileged to have with us today the host of this dialogue, the 𝗟𝗦𝗟𝗪𝗡𝗙 Malaysia. May I now invite His Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗏𝗪𝗓𝗛 bin Muhammad Anwar, Secretary General, Ministry of Rural and Regional Development Malaysia, to deliver the welcome remarks.
𝗟𝗑𝗪𝗡𝗏 𝗔𝗡𝗙𝗏. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to all ASEAN participants for this ASEAN multi-stakeholder meeting. I think on behalf of the Ministry of Rural and Regional Development and also the Government of Malaysia, I wish to extend my warm welcome to each and every one of you to the ASEAN Multi-Stakeholder Dialogue on the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development. I think hosting the important event reflects Malaysia's deep and enduring commitment for rural development, a cornerstone of our national journey since independence. And so I think the hosting of this event is timely because Malaysia is also currently the chairman of ASEAN for this year. And the 47th ASEAN Summit will be happening on the 26th and 27th of October, I mean this month, in which we are going to hand over our chairmanship to our the new chairman for next year. Okay. Talking about rural development, I just would like to share a bit that in Malaysia, roughly, we have about 34 million population. And out of that 34, we have about 8.1 million population living in the rural area. And there is also our Ministry of Housing, in which they are responsible for the local authority. They are going to have an impact on the size and also the area of the rural community, because they are having this planning in which 85% in Malaysia will be rural or semi-rural, urban or semi-urban, 15% will be rural. So we are not sure whether my ministry will exist or will not be exist in the near future because of the reducing in size. But basically, the aspect of rural development is being given priority by the current government. I think definitely we have to say that most of us come from the rural area. And also rural development is important because you know that in Malaysia we are trying to stop migration from the rural to the urban area, because urban area like Kuala Lumpur is already congested. They have to extend, for example, Greater Kuala Lumpur up to Seremban in Negeri Sembilan. So because of that, we have to ensure that migration will be minimized by ensuring that there is adequate infrastructure, socio-economic development, job opportunity for the youth in the rural area. That is the most important thing. And I think I had the opportunity to join the meeting, the ASEAN meeting in Bali, about rural development, in which they say that most of the ASEAN countries will not be able to achieve their SDG target by the year 2030, because, for example, not that we are neglecting on the rural development, but because we do not have proper coordination. So due to that, we have established in Malaysia a high-level committee on rural development to look into 6 areas, particularly infrastructure, education, entrepreneur development, rural economy, technology and digitalization, and finally is tourism. And under the ministry, just to share that for us to face the ASEAN Summit, 26th and 27th of October, my ministry have actually launched a special project to uplift the standard of agro and also ecotourism. We have actually identified 20 locations for that, in which we are going to share with the ASEAN leaders during the summit. I think this is in conjunction with the Visit Malaysia Year 2026. So we are preparing. We do not want foreign travelers to enjoy the city area or the capital city, but also to go to the rural area. But we must make sure that the rural area, in terms of the agro-tourism, the ecotourism, they are prepared to a certain standard. And just to share that there is one institution under our ministry, they call it Infra in short. Infra is doing all the trainings and also courses for individual homestay operators, so that at least they can reach to a certain standard in terms of providing accommodation or short temporary accommodation to the travelers coming from outside. And finally, I just would like to say that I hope these 2 days will be a fruitful discussion and opportunity from all the ASEAN relevant stakeholders. And just to remind that on the 9th, Malaysia will be hosting a forum on women and digitalization. So we hope that not that we love women so much. Yeah, we love women dearly, not so much dearly, but hopefully that you can also join us on the 9th in terms of ensuring the success for the Women and Digitalization Forum to be hosted by Malaysia on the 9th. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for the remarkable speech from His Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓 bin Muhammad Anwar.
A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 bin Muhammad Anwar. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have the opening remarks by Her Excellency Hajah Nur Ashikin binti Haji Johari, Permanent Secretary Community, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, Brunei Darussalam, as the SOM RDPE Chair. Her remarks will be delivered through a pre-recorded message. Members of the floor, please direct your attention to the screen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 bin Muhammad Anwar, Secretary General of the Ministry of Rural and Regional Development of Malaysia. Excellency San Luin, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN for the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community, senior officials in charge of rural development and poverty eradication from ASEAN member states and the ASEAN +3, esteemed representatives from the ASEAN Villages Network, ASEAN Committee on Women, ASEAN sectoral bodies and valued partners, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the ASEAN +3 Forum on Women and Digitalization. Following 2 days of intensive and fruitful discussions during the ASEAN Multi-Stakeholder Dialogue, it is truly inspiring to see our momentum continue as we are joined by our valued partners from the ASEAN +3 countries. On behalf of SOM RDPE, I once again extend our sincere gratitude to our hosts, the government of Malaysia, for their exceptional arrangements, and to all our partners for their commitment to this important forum. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, our preceding multi-stakeholder dialogue reinforced the notion that a resilient and prosperous ASEAN is built upon the foundation of strong, inclusive, and sustainable rural communities. Today, we transition from that broad strategic vision to a focused and actionable theme, empowering rural women through digital inclusion for sustainable futures. This theme represents one of the most significant opportunities of our time. Across our region, rural women are the unseen backbone of our agricultural sectors, the custodians of local culture and entrepreneurs. Yet, they continue to face systemic barriers that limit their access to credit, training, markets, and technology. This is a challenge we must confront head-on. Digital transformation offers a powerful lever for change, with the potential to dismantle long-standing barriers to inclusive development. When rural women gain access to digital financial services, their ability to save, invest, and build financial resilience expands not only for themselves, but also for their families and communities. The benefits of digital inclusion extend beyond finance. Digital tools open access to essential information on health and agriculture, create opportunities for education and skills development, and connect women to wider networks of peers, markets, and mentors. In this way, digital inclusion becomes the tangible pathway towards economic empowerment, poverty reduction, and greater equality. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our objective during the forum is clear: to generate actionable and forward-looking recommendations that can be integrated into both regional and national rural development strategies. In particular, let us explore on how we can advance digital inclusion by shaping policies that ensure digital tools are not only accessible and affordable, but also responsive to the needs of rural women. This forum is also timely, as we are now in the concluding year of the Framework Action Plan on Rural Development and Poverty Eradication for 2021 to 2025. The insights and recommendations from our discussions here will be invaluable in shaping our new work plan for the next 5 years. This is an opportunity to reassess priorities, strengthen our commitments, and ensure our future agenda effectively addresses the most pressing challenges facing rural communities today, including the digital empowerment of women. To all participants, especially to the ones representing rural women entrepreneurs who have joined us, your voices are the most critical in this conversation. I urge you all to engage actively, to share your experiences openly, and to build networks that will last long after this forum concludes. Let us work together to build a future where every rural woman in our region has the tools and opportunities to thrive. I thank you.
Thank you for the remarkable speech from Her Excellency Hajah Nur Ashikin binti Haji Johari.
Moving on, our next highlight comes from His Excellency Sun Win, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN for the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community from the ASEAN Secretariat, who has prepared a recorded address especially for these occasions. It's time to turn our eyes into the screen.
Excellency Datuk Mohammed 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗓 bin Mohammed Anwar, Secretary General, Ministries of Rural and Regional Development of Malaysia, Excellency Haji Noor Ashikin binti Haji Johari, Permanent Secretaries Community, Ministries of Culture, Youth and Sports of Brunei Darussalam, and Chairs of 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘𝗓𝗍, Senior Official in charge of Rural Development and Poverty Eradication, esteemed representative from ASEAN Villages Network in the ASEAN member states, ASEAN sectoral bodies, ASEAN partners and international organizations, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It is with great honor that I address you today as we gather in Kuala Lumpur and virtually for the ASEAN multi-stakeholder dialogues on the ASEAN Master Plans on Rural Development. I would like to express my highest appreciation to Ministries of Rural and Regional Development of Malaysia organizing this important event with ASEAN Secretariat. This dialogue provides a valuable platform to recognize our gain, challenges, and advance rural and sustainable development in ASEAN. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN accords high-level political commitment to advancing rural development and poverty eradication in the regions. With more than half of our region's population residing in rural areas, advancing inclusive and sustainable development in these communities is vital to ensure that no one is left behind as ASEAN continues its journey towards deeper integrations and shared prosperities. ASEAN Master Plans on Rural Development, adopted by leaders in 2022, provide a comprehensive and integrated strategies for rural development and poverty eradication across the region. It builds upon important milestones of ASEAN, including ASEAN Framework Action Plans on Rural Development and Poverty Eradication 2021 to 2025, and complements broader regional frameworks such as ASEAN Declarations on Strengthening Social Protection and the Master Plans on ASEAN Connectivity 2025, among others. The ASEAN Master Plans on Rural Development underscore the interconnectedness of poverty reductions effort and rural development with broader cross-cutting priorities, including strengthening social protections, safeguarding food security, mitigating the impacts of disasters and climate change, as well as promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. The Master Plan provides a comprehensive and forward-looking roadmap in promoting rural developments. Its call for enhanced policy coherence, innovative approaches to rural transformation and stronger partnership across government, civil society, academia, the private sectors, and the development partners. This multi-stakeholder dialogue is convened specifically to harness ASEAN collaborative approach, recognizing that the advancement of rural transformative development is a collective, responsible, and cause for the active engagement of all stakeholders. With the recent adopted ASEAN Community Vision 2045, resilient, innovative, dynamic, and people-centered ASEAN, and its strategic plan, ASEAN reaffirmed our commitments to narrow the development gap and strengthening rural economy as an integral component of our community building. Let this bold and forward-looking vision inspire our deliberation today. This dialogue will play a critical role in charting practical solutions, strengthening cross-sectoral collaborations, and harnessing resources to advance the effective implementations of the master plan. We are especially mindful that our effort must prioritize resilient buildings, inclusive participation, and digital transformation in rural communities to ensure that they are better equipped to prosper and remain adaptive in the face of evolving regional and global challenges. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, let me emphasize that sustained political will, policy coherence, and cross-sectoral collaboration are essential to advancement of rural development. The importance of working together throughout all these endeavors cannot be overstated. I encourage everyone to actively participate and share your views and expertise during the dialogue. I wish you all participants productive deliberations and look forward to the insights and collaborations that will emerge from this dialogue. I thank you. Excellency Datuk Mohammed.
Thank you for the remarkable speech from His Excellency 𝗟𝗏𝗡.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with today's program, let us take a moment for a group photo to capture this meaningful occasion. For the first photo session, may we kindly invite His Excellency Datuk Muhammad 𝗟𝗑𝗏𝗟𝗡𝗅 bin Muhammad Anwar, accompanied by Datuk Dr. Roslan and Mr. Miguel Musni, Ms. Afifah, to the stage for the photo session. We also like to invite all the SOM RDPE members to the stage for the photo session. SOM RDPE members, please welcome to the stage for a group photo with the Secretary General. Please join in on the stage. Some more space on the right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, can we give a very big smile to the cameras? Ready? Thumbs up, that's it, right. Thank you SOM RDPE members for the photo session. We kindly request His Excellency to remain on the stage for the next photo session with all the speakers and moderators. Please welcome all the speakers and the moderators for the session, for the group photo session. Please come forward, don't be shy. More space on the right. Ma'am, from the left, can you move to the right, please?
Thank you, His Excellency, for capturing these wonderful moments. For the final photo of the day, we would like to invite all distinguished guests and participants to kindly rise and smile for the camera. Meanwhile, we request our official photographer to take position on the stage. All distinguished guests and participants, kindly rise and smile for the camera.
Can we move to the center, ladies and gentlemen? The center of the hall. Please rise, give a very big smile to the cameras.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now take your seats. We will begin our first session in a minute.
His Excellency, thank you for joining us despite your hectic schedule. We truly appreciate your time and presence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with our first session, Setting the Scenes, overview of the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development. We are pleased to have Mr. Miguel Masni, Assistant Director, Head of the Poverty Eradication and Gender Division at the ASEAN Secretariat, who will provide an overview of the ASEAN Master Plan. Thank you, Mr.
Please welcome Mr. Miguel Masni.
Good morning, everyone. Of course, Excellency 𝗟𝗜𝗙𝗘𝗔𝗓𝗓 bin Mohammed Anwar, Secretary General of the Ministry of Rural and Regional Development of Malaysia, representatives from the Senior Officials Meeting on Rural Development and Poverty Eradication, representatives from other ASEAN sectoral bodies, ASEAN entities such as colleagues from 𝗟𝗟𝗓𝗏, and ASEAN partners and stakeholders. Good morning, everyone. It is a privilege for the ASEAN Secretariat to deliver this presentation to set the scene for our regional dialogue. This multi-stakeholder dialogue is one of our team's passion project. And we are extremely thankful to 𝗟𝗏𝗡 Malaysia for hosting this event. We are also thankful for the strong attendance of the relevant ASEAN sectoral bodies. As we will see in a while, the stakeholding of multiple actors, government officials, civil society, rural people's organizations, even the private sector. It's the moving spirit behind the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development. This is just a snapshot of the commitment and vision behind, or as articulated by the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development. The master plan provides a cohesive guiding framework for ASEAN rural development and poverty alleviation. It contributes to and resonates with the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and also the 2030 Agenda on Sustainable Development. What we can focus on is that it envisions a vibrant ASEAN region integrated into the global economy where human resource potentials are unleashed, enabling each and everyone to participate in and partake of the benefits of rural development, no? And also aided by economic integration and fast-track rural transformation and good governance, no? And to ensure a safe and healthy living condition for the food secure, non-poverty-ridden, socio-economically inclusive, and climate change shock-resilient ASEAN community. So it's quite a bold vision that the master plan enunciates. And from the vision itself, we can already see the interconnectedness, no, of what each of the ASEAN sectoral bodies, what each of the stakeholders are being requested to contribute to realize this vision. And later on, as we go through the presentation, we will take a look at the strategic goals, no? Now, perhaps we can take a step back and look at rural development in our region, in the ASEAN region, no? As we all know, our region is very diverse, no? We're very rich in natural resources. At the same time, we're one of the most disaster-prone regions in the world, no? We have aging societies in most of the member states, but we also have one of the youngest populations in the world, no? We have a fast-growing middle class, and meeting the food security needs of our people looks at certain instances of undernourishment, no? So it establishes the link between, or what we see in the region is that rural development plays a key role, not only on the livelihoods of those living in rural areas, but also the linkages between rural and urban areas and addressing food security, no? And also, there's an added complexity of what happened a couple of years ago when the pandemic hit, no? And the impacts that it had or it still has in our lives, in our health, and in our economies, no? Now, how does the master plan appreciate rural development in the ASEAN context, no? Rural development, as enunciated in the master plan, is a strategy aiming at the improvement of economic and social living conditions, focusing on a specific group of poor people in rural areas, no? It assists the poorest group among the people living in rural areas to benefit from development. So this appreciation of rural development provides us an anchor of how each of us, coming from different sectoral bodies, different perspectives, like from ASEAN partners and CSOs, how we are moored or anchored on this appreciation of rural development as enunciated in the master plan. Now, what is rural development landscape in the ASEAN region? When the master plan was being developed, I think it was during the pandemic, no? It was, the consultations were done online. This is how the region looked like, no? At that time. There was already an appreciation of the changing context of rural development. For example, at that time and until now, there's growing or increasing trade between each of the member states, no? Which means that apart from our region trading with other partners, no? Trading partners, each of the member states trade with one another, no? And this has an implication on their productive capacity, even the production of goods and even movement of services, no, in each of the member states, primarily coming from rural areas. No. Also, we saw that there's a changing mode of development cooperation. I think one of the points touched upon by the master plan is that some of the member states are already donor partners, no? Not just directly investing, no, in other member states, but also providing development cooperation funds. No? There's also changing extent of involvement, meaning engaging with stakeholders, particularly involvement of women and youth and other vulnerable and marginalized groups. And the master plan, in terms of looking at the landscape of rural development in our region, there's also a recognition of persistent needs and challenges. We've already seen or mentioned earlier the impacts of the pandemic. We also mentioned how disaster prone our region is. I mentioned also the mega trend of aging population. So, and His Excellency, during his opening remarks, mentioned migration from rural to urban areas, no, and even outside the borders, no, of each of the member states. So, all of these paint a picture of how the rural development landscape in ASEAN looks like. Now, the strength of the master plan is the linkages that it makes, which attempts to tie together a clearly articulated regional agenda for rural development. And what we see on the screen are three thematic areas where these linkages are being attempted to, connect with one another. No? For example, how agricultural development impacts food security, impacts or addresses malnutrition and hunger, and how food security, malnutrition, and hunger shape and drive policies and programs at the national level, even budgetary allocations. So for representatives from governments, from respective ministries here, this would not be something new to all of you, no? Because you'll be coming from the perspective of your ministry. What the master plan aims to do is to show the connections, no? And as we have heard from His Excellency in his remarks earlier, there's already an attempt here in Malaysia for this interministerial coordination, no? To address these issues. Another thematic area is how agricultural and rural development could perhaps be considered the same, what do you call that? Both sides of the same coin. No? So on one hand, agricultural development, looking at production, productive capacities of the agricultural sector. But on the other hand, rural development, ensuring that, for example, health services, social protection, local governance, rural livelihoods, no, really impact the lives and living conditions of people. So it's not just about what people in rural areas produce, or even in the peri-urban areas, but also the way that they live and how their well-being is being enhanced, and how their capacities for engagements with, for example, local authorities and local governments are strengthened. No? And the last thematic area where the master plan aims to clearly articulate these linkages is on how rural development is promoted vis-a-vis sustainability considerations, so the environment, no? Ensuring that the environment is not unduly stressed and that we live within our planetary boundaries. Okay. Now, the master plan puts forward a key strategy, which is territorial rural development. It is the transformation process of a given rural area to improve the living condition of its population. It sets up around two main axes, no? to foster productive transformation and people institutional change. No? So what are the principles driving territorial rural development? So it's place-based, it looks at the area. No? It's people-centered, it's multi-actor, no? Just like what we have right now here, multi-stakeholder. It works on multiple levels, at the community level, local level, national level, no? And also cross-sectoral. No? So it's not confined to a specific sector. It puts emphasis on the participation of local actors, and including the most marginalized, no? In identifying challenges, priorities, interventions, and managing solutions. No? The concept or the framework of territorial rural development encourages collaboration of the various stakeholders by building platforms or strengthening institutions for dialogue, negotiation, joint actions at different levels. Now, the master plan likewise sets out other key strategies. We see on the screen two main strategies. One is on mainstreaming gender equality and women's empowerment, rural development, and poverty eradication. So looking at increasing women's participation in rural development, enhancing women's access to resources and social benefits, and creating and consolidating women's voice and agency. Just like what we heard from some RDPE chairs' remarks earlier, no? And also what we will all discuss on Thursday when we have the forum on ASEAN Plus 3 Forum on Women and Digitalization. The other aspect, which also His Excellency mentioned during his remarks, is on youth engagement and participation, which we observe from the ASEAN Secretariat is a cross-cutting issue amongst ASEAN member states. No? Even though there is a dedicated ASEAN sectoral body on youth development, which is SOMI, and I think some member states, or you have a dedicated ministry or departments on youth, some RDPE, and your cooperation on the master plan looks at youth development and engagement, no? Especially on harnessing the potential of rural youth to innovate and adapt to digital technologies, promote poverty reduction, and also to generate employment. So the next slide is a bit busy. It's quite complicated. Apologies for the small font. But the intention of showing this diagram is to invite all the participants to download the ASEAN Master Plan from the ASEAN website. No? So you can read through the document and see this diagram. No? At the center of the diagram is the vision that I mentioned earlier. No? And what I wanted to highlight are the squares or the boxes surrounding this vision. No? So these are the goals. No? What are the goals that unpack the vision? No? So a food secure and food safe region, which establishes the link between SOM RDPE, SOM AMAF, and SOM HD. So that's on food, agriculture, fisheries, and the health sector, no, with rural development. Also on sustained responsible investment. So concretely, that's a cooperation that's actually being led by SOM AMAF on responsible agricultural investment. But there's an issue there that SOM RDPE wants to engage on. No? It disappeared. Okay. The other one is on establishing and strengthening venues and platforms for engagement. Again, going back to one of the principles of territorial rural development is on engaging stakeholders, no? Particularly at the community level, and having those venues for participation and engagement. Another goal, the fourth goal, is enhance and sustain resilience and capacity broadly for stakeholders to have the ability to engage with one another, but also in particular, capacity and resilience to impacts of climate change and disasters. Also to establish an inclusive community, as we recall how the master plan appreciates rural development. No? which is looking at the poorest and marginalized groups in rural areas. And therefore, one of the goals is to ensure inclusivity. And I suppose this also resonates with Malaysia's theme, no, for their term as ASEAN Chair this year, inclusion and sustainability. And the last goal to realize the vision is economic opportunities continually abound. No? So there's the linkage and hopefully no conflict between economic growth, particularly rural growth, no? Pushing for local enterprises and local growth, no? But as it spreads to all stakeholders, no, at the community level. Okay, I think I only have 3 slides left before we end this presentation. No? After walking through what the master plan has, and it has more, no? If there are any questions in your mind, feel free to take a look at the master plan itself. No? We now come to the objectives, no, of the dialogue, what we hope to achieve during these 2 days that we are together. This regional dialogue aims to achieve the following, no? To increase our awareness and hopefully to appreciate the ASEAN Master Plan on Rural Development, particularly how it connects all of us, no? And its attempt to break the silos so that we can work and coordinate with one another. No? Also to identify priority areas for action, no? How all of the sectoral bodies in this room could work together. And I think as we have gone through the key components of the master plan earlier, I suppose that some of us have some ideas already, you know, on how to work with one another. And also, lastly, to foster partnership and collaboration, not just amongst the ASEAN sectoral bodies, but also with ASEAN partners, ASEAN-affiliated entities such as 𝗟𝗓𝗓. 𝗟𝗓𝗓 is a long-standing partner of SOM RDPE. They have a wide network across all ASEAN member states, no? And other partners of ASEAN. No? I think for this is the expected outcomes. After the dialogue, we hope that the following outcomes would have already been achieved. Of course, increased knowledge of the master plan, identification of priority actions, also an interface with members of the ASEAN Villages Network. In a while, I think there would be some speakers from the ASEAN Villages Network that will be giving presentations. No? Also to propose some concrete initiatives, no? To promote people-oriented integrated approaches, strengthen rural-urban linkages, and facilitate inclusive rural transformation. Now, for my last slide, hopefully by tomorrow, just before we break for lunch, we would have already achieved the following. No? We would have a statement or like recommendations from this regional dialogue, no? And also identified some concrete initiatives. No? What we have, well, what we hope that will come out of this dialogue is an intention to gather evidence, no? Perhaps looking at the state of sustainable rural development in ASEAN. Also, perhaps how ASEAN's cooperation can provide guidance on territorial rural development, if it would help member states, no, make these connections. Also, indicative joint actions, no, perhaps involving gender mainstreaming and also on youth engagement, no, amongst others. So, ladies and gentlemen, this ends the presentation of the ASEAN Secretariat. We hope that you find the information we shared useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miguel, for the insightful presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to Mr. Miguel for his presentation.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now take a short coffee break. Please be back in 30 minutes for our next sessions. Please return at 10:20 a.m. for the next session.